Okay. Hey everyone, just gonna wait a few more minutes. So just for those of you who've joined us today, today we're just going to have kind of a brief chat about reopening, go through a few of the things that will be kind of key for you guys to keep in mind in the kind of next few weeks, give you guys a bit more of a detailed insight into what bookings are looking like for April. I know that we had a session last week where we gave you guys a bit of an insight, but we'll be going into kind of more of those kind of numbers and give you guys a bit of an idea of when you can expect to start receiving bookings in the kind of next few days or so. And then just a reminder of a couple of key things to keep in mind when it comes to COVID-19 guidance, some kind of key topics around testing, QR codes and all of that stuff. And then we'll probably have a bit of time at the end to answer any questions you guys have as well. We shared a form for you guys to fill in, but I think some things might kind of pop up throughout the session that you might have to ask us. Feel free as usual to pop it in the chat, and we'll kind of start addressing those more towards the end. And yeah, just share any thoughts you have as well in that chat too. I think we've kind of waited for long enough, so maybe we can just kind of crack on. Okay. Share my screen. All right, so can't believe it's finally actually happening, but we are 5 days out from reopening. So I know that quite a few of you guys might have already been working. We might have some people watching who've had some time off over the past few months and haven't actually been taking bookings on Urban, either because your treatments weren't essential treatments, or by choice you might have decided to take some time off during lockdown. So there's a kind of few key things to keep in mind, or probably help you understand a bit more about when you can expect to receive bookings, what we're kind of doing on our end as well to bring those bookings in for you guys, and yeah, just a few kind of general reminders as well. So the agenda for this session is just a brief reminder that we are actually opening, and what services will be resuming and which ones will be suspended for the time being. Camilla will kind of give us a bit of an insight into pre-bookings and a forecast for demand in April. And then we'll also let you guys know a bit more about marketing and what we're doing on that front to kind of get clients to book, especially those treatments that haven't been operating over the past few months. And then we'll go over a couple of general COVID-19 reminders. Don't want to go on and on about the kind of things we've spoken to you guys about in the past, but just a couple of things that you might have forgotten about over the past few months as it's kind of become less and less at the forefront of your minds. And then just a bit of a Q&A towards the end as well. Cool, so what services are reopening? So as you probably already know by now, we'll be able to reopen all massage services. So this is including all the holistic treatments that have been closed since we went into the national lockdown. And another key one to bear in mind is that the extended durations will return as well. So the 90-minute and 120-minute treatments will reopen too. So clients will start booking in for those longer sessions, which is great because we know that clients love, especially the 90-minute sessions are really popular. So key to bear in mind that will start happening again after April 12th. All beauty services, which is a key one as that's been closed for quite some time now. And as usual, osteo and physio will continue, same with digital bookings, but just thought we worth just clarifying that those will still be continuing as usual. So services that will remain suspended, couples bookings will remain suspended as they have been since we reopened in July. And obviously that would be to help with social distancing. So that won't be enabled for clients to book on their app. And fitness will remain indoors as well until May 17th at the earliest. So this is obviously subject to the government guidelines changing, and that will be if we move to step 3 of the reopening roadmap, where indoor fitness can resume through fitness classes and kind of classes in close proximity. That will be when we may be able to resume indoor fitness sessions on Urban 2. So keep an eye out more kind of closer to that date for any information on that one. Great, so now we'll kind of go into a bit more of what you can expect in terms of booking for the next month.
Great. So if you were on the webinar last week, it's a very similar message here, but just sharing for anyone who wasn't there as well. So basically in terms of, when am I going to receive bookings? I know we're open for next week already. When am I going to get pre-bookings? Some of you might have already received some, which is good. But just to give you an insight on sort of our day-to-day, when we usually get bookings, and then also, for reopening, particularly for the services which have not been open during lockdown, what we're kind of expecting in terms of pre-bookings and when they'll come in. So on the left-hand side, just looking at the last 6 weeks that we've just had. So this is just looking at the treatments that are open. What we tend to see is that about 60% of our treatments are booked within 24 hours of starting. And about half of those bookings are actually made about 2 hours before the treatment starts. So this is sort of general advice day to day, whether it's next week, last week, this week, or in future. Even if you feel like you're not going to get a booking, most of the time you just need to keep your hours in because it's likely you will get booked last minute. But then looking at reopening, we do have a slightly different pattern. Again, because we mentioned that we've had a lot of treatments that haven't been opened for, throughout the lockdown, so since December. Some people are booking ahead for those treatments, particularly, beauty treatments and sort of the relaxing massage services that we haven't had open during the beginning of this year. So what we saw last year, which is a pretty comparable time frame, considering, that was the last time that we had a long lockdown and then opened afterwards. We saw that half of the bookings that we had for that reopening week were made 3 days in advance. And pre-bookings tended to pick up around the 5-day point before reopening. So looking at this reopening, we are now at 5 days to reopening today. So we are expecting that pre-bookings are going to continue to pick up over the weekend. So if you don't already have your advance availability in, it's advisable that you do pop that in there now so that you can benefit from what's going to come in over the weekend. We don't necessarily think it's going to be exactly the same as when we reopened in July, as obviously we've had bookings for essential services throughout this period, though we'll come on to it in the sort of next couple of slides. We do already have a really positive sign. We already have positive signs of people pre-booking already, so there's no reason that they're going to all of a sudden slow down, really. And then just popping onto the next slide, just looking at kind of continuing on what I was saying about, what do we think about demand? And again, kind of looking first at what we saw last year. So if you look at the beginning, before this kind of gap in the middle of the graph here, this is looking at all the bookings that we've had in December, in 2020. So we had sort of January to March before lockdown. You have this period of no bookings, which is obviously lockdown. We're just a small amount of bookings because of the digital services. And then you can see in July, all of a sudden we have this big spike where we had what we experienced the pent up demand. So we had a lot more bookings in that week. And then we also saw that kind of pent up demand continue on for the next sort of 2 weeks or so. So the first 2 to 3 weeks of reopening, we had a bit higher demand. Then it kind of dropped out as people who usually book, in a spaced out way throughout the month, obviously waited another month or so before they had their next treatment. So I guess what we're taking from this is we're expecting that, next week and the following probably 2 to 3 weeks will be a little bit busier than usual. And also the bookings that we had right after reopening, as we mentioned, a lot of them were made in advance, a lot more than we usually see. And again, those pre-bookings weren't just for that reopening week. We did see that kind of pre-booking behavior continue for the first sort of 2 to 3 weeks of reopening. So yeah, I guess in terms of like, what do I do? Nice, I like these numbers, but what am I supposed to do with my actual life? Yeah, so it's not just next week that we want you to have your hours in for. If you want to make the most of this, definitely try to have, next week and the sort of following 2 weeks, if possible. So then you can get those pre-bookings and also capture the additional demand for the new services we have available. And then just in terms of, what our pre-bookings looking like at the moment. So this is just looking at the 4 weeks we just finished, this week that we're still halfway through. So it looks a little bit lower, but actually it's just because we haven't finished this week yet. And then looking at sort of next week and the following week. So, I mean, we've had pretty consistent bookings throughout March. Last week was slightly quieter because of the bank holiday. And this week is looking like things are picking up again. So we'll probably finish at a similar level to where we've been over the last few weeks. Looking at sort of next week for reopening, we already have over 1,200 pre-bookings for next week alone. And if you can see the sort of pink bar, which is bookings that were made 5 days ahead, I mean, it's almost 3 times bigger than, we basically already have as many pre-booking, like 2/3 the amount of pre-bookings. The amount of pre-bookings we have for next week is about 2/3 the amount of bookings we've already had for this week. And we haven't even started next week yet. So it's looking like we're gonna have a busy week next week. So again, looks like we're going to have increased demand from this reopening. And then also you can see sort of week of April the 19th, we do already have over 500, almost 600 pre-bookings for that week as well. So it looks like we're going to have these pre-bookings continuing on over the first 2 weeks of reopening for sure. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we're expecting pre-bookings to pick up over the weekend. So we already have over 1,500 pre-bookings and it's going to keep going. So you definitely want to make the most of that by getting your availability in the diary.
Awesome. Just to give you guys a bit of an insight into what we're doing for marketing. So over the past kind of couple of weeks, we've started to kind of let our clients know that we'll be reopening and that they can book their favorite treatments, especially kind of focusing more on beauty services and relaxation massage, as we know that those services have been closed for quite some time, and a lot of our clients, even those who may have been able to book some essential treatments during lockdown, might still miss their relaxing massage or their kind of nails treatment. So clients will have been and will continue to receive communications about those treatments. We're also giving our users a gift from our partner brands to encourage them to pre-book. So that's another kind of focus for our marketing. And April is Stress Awareness Month. So we'll be promoting the benefits of different urban treatments for stress relief. So using kind of more those kind of lifestyle and editorial campaigns and emails to really highlight the benefits of treating yourself and getting relaxing treatments and beauty treatments for stress. Other urban updates. So we have a couple of things that have been happening and have happened over the past few months. So I thought it would be good to just give you guys a bit of a recap and an insight into what you can expect in the next kind of few weeks or so. So our Theragun treatment is now live. So it's our latest branded treatment launch. And it's in partnership with Theragun, which is a percussive therapy company. And a lot of you, I'm sure, will have seen the Theraguns, and those are used in a kind of sports massage setting. So it's now live and clients can book that treatment in. And I know some practitioners have already done the training and kind of purchased the Theragun. But just for those of you who aren't aware, you'll need to be qualified at a sports level 3 or higher to be eligible to offer the treatment. And there's more information in the FAQs, and we've kind of shared that information about that via email as well. So if you're interested, definitely have a look at that. In terms of app updates, we had a couple of features that have gone live. I'm sure you will have seen in our emails and various webinars we've spoken about these different features, but might have not had a chance to use them yet, especially if you haven't had that many bookings, if you offer essential treatments or if you've not been working. So you can use service area templates to manage when and where you work. So you can have different templates for different times of the day or different days of the week if you want to restrict your areas or increase your areas. So definitely one to keep in mind, especially as might start receiving different bookings across the city, and your routine might start changing if you're returning, if you have other work or other commitments post lockdown. So definitely one to bear in mind, and definitely use the resources that we've prepared on how the kind of best practices for using those features, as it will really help make sure that you make the most of them. And same with request to book. So having that enabled will ensure that clients that have booked you in the past can send you an IM and request your availability. So again, that really helps with getting repeat clients, increasing your bookings, and making sure that you can kind of work on your own terms and find times that work for both you and your kind of existing clients. So definitely one to kind of switch on. And app cancellations have been live for a while now, so you can submit a cancellation request in your app. So that kind of makes it a more streamlined process, and our customer support team will then review that and update it directly in the app. So again, you can find more information on that in a couple of our previous webinars and also in the FAQs too. And so we have a few new projects that are just around the corner. So really exciting stuff that we've been working on behind the scenes, and you'll definitely start hearing from us in the next few weeks about these projects. And they've been in the pipeline for a very long time. And now that we're kind of will be reopened, and we can kind of stop talking about that and kind of look to the future and all the cool stuff we have in the works for our community. So definitely keep an eye out in the next kind of month or so. You'll definitely start hearing more and more about these projects, but we can't disclose too much yet, but definitely one to keep an eye out for. And just a few COVID related reminders, not as exciting as our projects, but one to definitely keep in mind is the testing schemes that the government has in place. So we definitely encourage everyone to use the coronavirus testing schemes that the government have set up in the kind of upcoming months. So the different testing schemes that are available are going to be the twice weekly rapid testing. So this is still to be confirmed, as the government hasn't officially announced it yet, but we're expecting that to happen kind of in the next couple of days. I think Friday is the day that that this will be announced. So this will be available to people nationwide, and you'll be able to have rapid flow testing twice a week at home, and that will definitely kind of be key in the kind of roadmap that the government have laid out for the next few months. So making the most of that. And the school's testing scheme. So for anyone who's in a childcare bubble or a school support bubble, so if anyone in your household or in your bubble attends school or nursery, you'll be able to have access to testing as well. So what we've done is we've popped all of that information in the resources section. So if you go into your app and tap resources, you'll be able to see the kind of top tab. It says working during coronavirus, and you'll see all of the like relevant and useful links there for you, so you can quickly be redirected to the relevant Gov UK page. Something to bear in mind is that we won't be monitoring this, and we won't be advertising any testing information on profiles. It's just something that we encourage you guys to take up. So the next thing is QR codes. So just a kind of refresher, all mobile therapists should register for for an NHS QR code. So no matter what service you offer, if you're going to be going and offering an in-person treatment or an in-person session, you'll need to have your QR code, and it should be taken into all bookings. It will be attached to your business address, so that will likely be your home address. And another key thing is it shouldn't be registered to urban, because as that's not the business address that your self-employed business is registered to. You want to make sure that that address corresponds with the one that your business is associated with. So how you apply, you just go onto the Gov.uk website and search create coronavirus QR poster. So then you'll need to register your unique code and use your business address, as I mentioned. And then you'll need to download that, whether you print it or have it displayed on your phone, either works. It just depends on whether it can easily be scanned by another phone. So I definitely recommend, whether you have another device at home, your partner, any people who live in your household, use their phone and try and scan it with either their phone camera, that should work, or if they have the NHS app. And if you're able to do that from device to device, then all good. If not, then you'll probably need to print it out. We haven't had too many instances where that's happened, where practitioners have needed to print it out, but definitely worth testing before you go to a client if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. So then when you're at the treatment, you'll need to ask the client to scan the code using their phone camera, and ideally do this during the consultation process. And they'll need to fill out a quick form, just as you would if you were going to the pub or going to a restaurant. And yeah, clients can use their NHS app or their phone camera. One thing to bear in mind is it's a legal requirement, not an urban requirement. So it's really important that you guys have one available, and it's actually not, the client isn't legally required to scan it, but you are required to have one ready for the client to scan. And this can lead to some quite serious fines from the government. So definitely want to look into if you haven't got your QR code ready for when you have your next booking. And just a few little tips to take away from today. So you guys will have seen all of our hygiene guidance. One key thing is to always make sure that you complete the consultation at especially the COVID screening part. And even if you've booked in with that client before and they've seen you multiple times, doing this every time is really key, as obviously you want to make sure that you're doing that screening process every time to kind of for insurance purposes. Another thing is to make sure you're communicating very clearly with your clients throughout the booking, especially around the hygiene measures right at the beginning and at the end, just to make sure your client knows and is looped into what the hygiene steps you'll be taking, they feel comfortable with the booking. And another thing is also, don't hesitate to double check with your client whether they're completing their hygiene steps, whether it be wearing face covering if it's required for that treatment, washing their hands, ensuring the property is ventilated, all of that stuff. So yeah, we definitely want to empower you guys to make sure you feel safe, and it's the client's responsibility to ensure your safety, as it is your responsibility to ensure your client's safe too. Awesome. So I think we've kind of covered all the main points that we wanted to touch on today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to add them to the chat and we'll try and answer them now. Got some time. We had any? Give it a couple moments.
I think while we wait for some questions to come through, we can maybe answer some that we've heard come through our through to the team through our customer support channels. And I guess if like some people have that question, maybe other people share it too. So we've got a question. I'll start with my question, then we can go to Luca's question if we want. But yeah, just a heads up that similar to getting your QR code ready, your PPE ready, and everything ready. If you do need to purchase any new products, whether it's from Physique or Dermalogica or Gaia Guru, just a reminder that we have everything on our hero shop. well, Gaia Guru, you need to get separately from them, but Neom, for example, all those brands, including Dermalogica and beauty and massage, and if you're a physio or an osteopath and you need to get new couch roll, it's all there, and it is live, and we have it dispatched to you from like you don't have to do anything, come pick it up from us. So if you do need to purchase anything, yeah, that is open for you. And if you do want to start if you want to continue encouraging your clients to purchase products, if you have that sort of commission scheme set up for your service, then that is live again, like from the 12th of April. So you can continue to do that through the app as well. Cool. So Raluca's asking if we can print the QR code for those who don't have a like a smartphone. Yeah, I guess Yasmin is probably the QR code master.
So yeah, you definitely can. I don't know if you're asking whether we at Urban can print it out for you. Unfortunately, we're not in the office and won't be for a while, so we won't be able to offer that service. But I think it should be fine using your device. We haven't had too many complaints of that. And I know that libraries are open, so places like that will have printing services, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find access to a printer. But definitely give it a go with your phone, and if you have a tablet or something else, another kind of device, give it a go with that too, because that might work better for you. But yeah, I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, sometimes with QR codes, if they're struggling to scan it off of your screen, some good things to do are like turning your brightness all the way up. Because sometimes when the brightness is really low, it's difficult to tell the difference between the black dots and the white background. I guess if you have like dark mode or something turned on, it might make it difficult as well. So just adjusting those kinds of things. And as Yasmin mentioned, testing it out at home before you take it out with your clients, that you kind of, you know how to troubleshoot those things before you are kind of face to face in a situation where you don't know what to do. And then another question from Raluca around t-shirts. So we should have Urban t-shirts back in stock soon. We had a stock count done yesterday. And yeah, basically the idea is that at the moment, we're not sending any orders out from the office anymore. We now have a partner who's dispatching our stock out for us. So the remaining t-shirts that are able to be sold from the office are being sent to them so that they can then get them back live on the shop for you. So they should be available soon, hopefully. Do therapists get discount on digital services? As Sophie would like some mindfulness. So yeah, you do. So everyone has, so any practitioner on the platform gets a discount on any off-peak treatments. So all you need to do is basically make a Urban user account. So go to urban.co or download the user app, make an account, and then you need to go into your Hero portal. So you'll need to do that. You can go into your phone actually, and then click resources if you want, and it will pop up in a web page. Click on the 3 lines in the top right hand corner, and then it'll open up with like a menu where you can choose which page to go to. And then there's a page called perks. It's easier if you're on the computer because it's just there in front of you, but either way, you go to perks, and then in there you basically just put in the email address of your user account and then link them together. And then what should happen is you'll automatically have the discount applied to your profile. So when you go through and book a treatment at off-peak, then when you go to checkout, you'll see that you'll have like a Staff Urban partner discount, and the pricing will be striked out, and it will say the new cost for you just before you check out. And obviously, if you struggle, just jump on the chat. It's very easy for our team to help you out with that too. Cool. Helen's asking about whether we'll have digital consultation forms in the future. So it's one that we have discussed previously and we would love to have. But again, it's one of those things about it needs to be developed and put into our product. And whenever we need to do that, we have to kind of put it in a line behind all the million other things we want to do. So yeah, the idea is that one day, hopefully we should be able to have this on there. But at the moment, we don't have a date for when this can be worked on or when it will be available. Sorry, not the best answer, but it's the truth. Anyone else?
Give some time, see if anyone has any other questions. If not, I'd love to know what everyone's excited to do after April 12th, other than work.
Yeah. Any exciting plans?
Wonder if everyone's going to be like Boris and go to the pub on the first day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like super competitive to get a spot at the pub on the first day.
Definitely, and it's the weather's not great either. I think
Yeah.
we had our nice like sunny spell, and of course the week that we can do stuff outside is the first week that it's cold again.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for anyone who has work on like Tuesday, the 13th of April, and is going to the pub on Monday, the 12th. Got to book the next day off.
Helen wants to get a massage.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good one.
Very good one.
So Raluca says, I won't use the app for the QR. That's why I asked if I could print the code. Thank you. Oh, no worries. There's also like the library is probably easier to do, but if you're really stuck, usually if you Google like printing service, I know there's a company called Print that does it quite cheaply, compared to like if you go to, you know, like a printing shop. So yeah, there'll definitely be some ways around, or even like community pages where people might have like a printer that you can use nearby.
True, that's a good advice. Great.
Cool.
I think we can probably wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a short and sweet one, just getting the message out.
Amazing. So yeah, we'll follow up this evening with an email with all of the key information that we shared with you guys, and yeah, and you guys can obviously ask us questions anytime if you have them. I think we have one last quick question that's come in.
So Zornitsa wants to know when HD Browse and HD Browse Sculpt will be launched on Urban. So that's actually a really good question. So we obviously the first thing we need to do is open. We're opening next week, and we do actually have a meeting about this next week. So no date yet, but hopefully developments coming soon, as in very soon.
Awesome.
Sophie's asking if you don't need a like a plinth or a table for a treatment, do you have to take it? So yeah, like sometimes users might say, might put in the booking notes like, I have a table in my house, don't worry about it. In which case, don't worry about it. But I guess you'll have to leave it somewhere. But yeah, I guess in terms of like overall for the service that you're offering, we do ask that everyone, brings the full kit that we ask for each sort of service that we have, just to provide a consistent service. As otherwise, if users get one experience from somebody and then another experience from somebody else, they're probably going to complain about someone, and we just want to avoid that as much as possible.
Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you guys for attending today, and hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and good luck for next week. I hope everyone can find some time to do the things they enjoy and make the most of things opening back up again.
We're getting more questions.
Oh.
So Ria's asking about corporate bookings. So at the moment, our corporate offering is well past, so trying to get people to come onto our membership and get their companies to basically help them with that. So that's the kind of sole focus of our corporate team at the moment. I know they're also looking into how can we, it's basically a work in progress at the moment, like what other things can we be offering, or what can we try to push for. So yeah, whenever there's anything new going on in the corporate team, as is same way that whenever there's anything new going on with at home bookings, I'll obviously let you know. I guess in terms of actual in-office treatments, it's we obviously have to wait until people go back into the office and sort of understand what that like new normal is going to be as well, because we're not really sure at the moment who's going into the office and how frequently.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of companies are starting to look at that and starting to come up with their the kind of return to the office plans. So yeah, it's probably going to happen in the kind of next couple of months, where we'll start hearing more, and some companies might be ready to have those in-office treatments again. But again, we'll need to kind of work on our end to make sure those are safe and compliant, and protecting both you guys and the clients. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for more information on that.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you all, and have a great weekend. And yeah, looking forward to the 12th.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.